Like there's no way.
Well, you do good through good, feel good station. Lathan Washington here. Ron with the facts. Laquita, Coach Courtney, the legend in the building right now. We mentioned a little bit of the Willovich team, but I want to mention your recent teams with Fort Bend Marshall. Like, guys, I don't know if you know, he was coaching a kid who out of nowhere became the number one receiver in the nation, number one dual athlete in America, Chris Marshall, who's now at Boise State, along with Jaylen Lowe at Pitt. And his team here, you guess you could say he don't have the star names as they say, but he got a lot of power on that court with Kevin Sargent and Jaden Jones. What makes this team so special this year while y'all are number one?
I think the fact that they all get along with each other, they actually hang out a lot more than the teams I've had in the past, and the fact that they have been to three. This will be the we're blessed to be a third regional final, so they know what it's all about as far as being as a team. I love coaching them. They're a lot of fun, and we just bond. You know, a lot of coaches can't bond with their whole team. They bond with the stars.
Yeah.
I bond with all of them because at the end of the day, I don't know why I do it on the particular day that I do it, but every Wednesday I tell my kids I love them. And you know what? Why I do that? Because they probably never hear it. And so that's one of the things I do. And if I don't say it, they say, hey, Coach, you forgot something today. And I already know what it is, but I hit them with that one. And at that point, once kids feel that way, you can get them run through a brick wall for you. No questions asked. That's why this team is so special. And the fact that they know what they're doing, they've been through the wars, and they're on a mission.
Yeah, they definitely on a mission when I commentate the game at Sahib's Invitational against Mansfield Summit. They took that for sure as a pride. Another thing I want to know is, like, can you just talk about the Houston basketball culture, like from when you started into now? I know we don't really have time to get into all of this with YouTube, but like, can we just talk about some of the things that you see out there
right now in high school sports right now?
Yes, sir. In the culture,
that's a hard question because I don't want to talk about anyone's program and what they do in their program because I'm not with them in their practice session.
Right.
But I think what I'm doing is probably no different from what anybody else is doing as far as playing the game. But my take on playing the game is a little bit more detailed than what I see. I see a lot of players, they just playing and not really knowing why they're doing what they're doing. If you see my teams play, they're structured galore. We're going to run our sets, and we're going to know where the shots are coming from. We're going to know who's supposed to take those shots because that's important. Because if you just out there just shooting balls, for example, Kevin Sargent's probably the best rebounder in the state.
Hands down. Yeah,
really.
Hands down.
If you're just shooting balls, you don't give him a chance to rebound. But if you're running sets like we run, he knows where those shots are coming from, so he positions himself to rebound, just like Jaylen Jones. So for me, I go out and I watch. When I don't go, I watch film on teams play, and to this point right now, all I need to know is who your best player is, because I don't see what I need to defend as far as what you're running, because I don't see you run anything. So just let me know who your best players are, and then from that point, I can sign my best defenders
on there. And he got a guard in Ian Lowe. That every time I'm around him, I check my wallet, see if it's still there.
Hey, I've known that kid since he was a baby, literally a baby in the Lucas lab training with his brother.
Yep.
And I always knew that bloodline is just talented all the way through.
And if you go back and you look at my schedule right now, talking defense, we have probably given up 50 points maybe 3 times, maybe 4. Everything is less than 50.
Man, that says a lot.
Because like 2014, 2015 basketball.
The defense that we play, I'm not saying that nobody else plays defense, but the demands I put on my guys defensively helps us to not have to worry about whether or not we can win, because you're not going to make shots all the time.
Right.
But if you can defend, you got a chance.
Right.
And we're doing that quite well. Right now, we're in a district that's I'm trying to challenge my kids to stay focused because we play 5 district games. We're giving up 17, 18, 26. It's stuff that like that's what we're giving up. And we're scoring 99, we're scoring 100, we're scoring, and that's not helping me or my team, but that's the hand we're dealt. So now it's a challenge for me to keep them focused to make sure that we're still on the same page and going toward the goal that we're going for.
Right.
Mhm.
My last question then, I just gotta know, what was it like? What was Carl Crawford like? You know, because we don't really get to hear about him with sports, but you coached him. He went on to the MLB, and now he's one of the biggest Houston moguls in the city now.
Carl Crawford is probably the best all-around talent I've ever coached. And I say that because here's a young man who had a football scholarship to Nebraska, a basketball scholarship to UCLA, and a Major League Baseball contract on the table. I've never had a kid to have that on the table.
Wow.
You're talking about a football scholarship to Nebraska, basketball scholarship to UCLA, and an NBA and a Major League Baseball contract sitting all on the same table. I've never had that before. He is the most all-around athlete that I have coached in my career that I can say that about, and it's true.
Yeah, that's what
major.
you call all around. So have you ever? And I know you have. What has kept? Well, that's another question I already know the answer to, but. You're the Deion Sanders right now of boys basketball, at least in Texas or in Houston. Have you been offered on the collegiate level or even on the NBA level?
Yeah, to go back.
I took the Texas Southern job back in 2001.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure I wanted to do it, but my athletic director at Fort Bend said, "Hey man, go ahead and try because this is something that you probably not ever get a chance to do." And when I say that, I'm coming from being a high school head coach to becoming a Division I head coach. That doesn't happen. And so I took it and let me see what I can do at this level. And funny story, the guys when I went to the media day. Everybody, man, you don't know what you're doing. You're a high school coach. This is college basketball, and now you're not going to be very good at it. I asked one coach, I said, "Coach, let me ask you a question." I say, "What's the length of this court in college?" 94 feet. I say, "What's the width?" 50. I say, "That's the same width in high school. So what's the difference?" "Well, you don't know how to coach college guys because these are grown men." I said, "Well, I'm a grown man." So at this point, I'm in charge because I'm paying for you to go to school. So we're going to do it the way I want it done. And they predicted me to finish last. I ended up finished 4th. I was, matter of fact, was named Inside of College.com College Coach of the Year. The 3rd year there, I take them to the tournament, and we win the SWAC tournament. I go to the NCAA tournament. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that. But the politics and the pressures of college sports was not fun for me. It was one of those things that I was glad I was released from it. Because I felt like my passion and my love was in high school. Because at that point, I'm developing young men to become men. In college, you're trying to help guys understand that you're a man, but your destination is not the NBA because you're not that good. That's a hard thing to convince a kid of,
right?
Or a man, rather. And so I took the job and I learned so much. I got a chance to talk to people like Coach Krzyzewski and Leonard Hamilton and all these guys that you see on TV. I had a chance to interact with those guys. And I learned so much from those guys that I brought it back with me to high school and I use it all the time.
Man.
So what's your reaction? Let me ask you, since this is the thing that we just recently saw. How do you react if you in the playoffs, let's say you about to get to the state championship or even at the state championship, and one of your star players is sitting on the bench reading a book? How do you handle that? How do you feel about that?
First of all, I'm not gonna have any star players. I'm not, because I'm not trying to take away from what you're asking me, but when you say you have star players, then they expect special treatment. I don't do that. There's no special treatment. Everybody's going to be treated fairly. No one's going to be treated the same, but everybody's going to be treated fairly. So it depends on what kind of book he's reading. If he's reading a book that's going to better him in life or in a situation he's in, well, I'm going to go with that. But if you're just sitting there arbitrarily reading some book that's off the shelf of some store, then I have a problem. Because if that's what's calming you down and you say, "Coach, this is what's keeping me calm," I got you. But if you're just reading the book, just be reading the book because you're bored, then I need you to not do that. because we got something at stake right now.
Yeah, we handling business.
Right,
Okay,
right, man.
That's a different take on that.
A very
Yeah,
different
different take
very
on
perspective.
big
that.
take, man.
Okay.
Coach, we can't tell you how much we really appreciate you coming here and blessing us with this wisdom, man. So here at Sidelines, it's more than we think sports is the life. Sports is the outlet to learn life lessons. There you go. It came out.
There you go.
Hey, okay.
But man, we want to give you your flowers here,
Yeah,
man. Ever
for
since
sure.
I met you, you've always been respectful. Like you don't act like you have all these accolades. You put yourself, you humble yourself, and man, yes, sir. For me, I look forward to
Yeah.
trying to be like you. When I
Yeah.
get
You know,
Yeah.
that's a testament to my parents, because on your way up that ladder, you're gonna pass some people up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta come back down that ladder.
Mm-hmm.
On your way down that ladder, you're gonna see them same people.
Mm.
So my whole theory is I don't know everything. I know enough to get me where I need to be. So when I respect everybody for what they do and how they do and whatever they do, and I respect that. And for me to have the accolade that I have, that's history.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay, I'm dealing with people now that's in the present. So if I want you to treat me with respect, I gotta treat you with respect. So respect goes two ways.
Mhm.
And I tell my kids that all the time. If you want my respect, you got to give me yours, and I'm gonna give you mine. And so another thing I have in my program is trust. A lot of coaches don't talk about trust.
Mm.
I gotta trust you that when I put you out there, you're gonna do what I ask you to do. You gotta trust me to put you out there to make sure that I do what you ask you, that I'm asking you to do. But that trust thing, the two-way street as well. So things like nuggets like that in my program are essential to what we do, because at the end of the day, it's I don't want to say as good as we, but we are pretty good. As good as we are, if you talk to my kid, they'll tell you, well, we're not as good as we can be.
Mhm.
Because if you say we're really, really good, then what's your goal? Where you trying to get?
Mhm.
But if you tell me we're not as good as we can be, then that tells me there's more work to be done.
Mm.
So like right now, I'm here with you guys. They're in that gym right now. I promise you they're doing what they're supposed to do, and I'm not even there.
I believe it.
I
And my
believe
thing is,
I
you
believe it.
want to do right when no one's looking.
Looking.
Right.
Mm.
Okay,
That's
so
the big
at
one.
my practice for the first 20 minutes, I don't even go in the gym. I don't have to because it's already set what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And when I walk in after that 20 minutes, they're standing that way to me because we're done.
Yeah.
That's the part of discipline that I take with me to games. You don't see my kids hoorahing and jumping them down like they've never scored a basket before. You don't see any of that from my kids because act like you've been there, act like you've done it. And when we get in the locker room, you shout and cheer all you want in that locker room. But when you're on that floor, I tell them all the time, you never know who's watching you.
Right.
So
right.
if you
Yeah.
carry yourself the correct way, then you don't have a problem. And college coaches are always at the games.
Yep.
And so when they see my kid act as though they've already done this before, then they know what they're getting. So that's kind of how I do things.
Man, I love that because that's so true. Like even in the pregame, a lot of coaches you just see are on the down at the bench doing the pregame, or they're interacting with the pregame. You know, this guy right here sits in the stands or in the locker room. You don't see him down at pregame, and the players know what they're supposed to do during pregame. The staff is not down there at all. And I was like, because I was looking for, I was like, where the but that's how much that winning culture he has instilled in those players, and it's phenomenal to watch just because I know his history and I know his background, and I've been in his practices. I've watched him, and he's been one of my most favorite coaches in the city and a mentor. He was my mentor because when I started the game, I was in boys basketball, so I had two people that I really looked up to that really grounded me in that. And so this is what I want to end with, Coach. And I know you may not do this just because you just favor. Give me your top 3 players that you have really. That was probably one of the best 3.
Oh, you run our social
That
media
you-
segment, Laquita.
Oh, you already did this?
Yeah,
Well, you could do a double. It don't matter.
Yeah.
It's all coming from the same platform.
yeah, yep.
What's your top 3 best players that you've ever coached of all time right now?
Oh, wow. So many.
I know it's hard. Give me your best 3.
Come on, we already know one name. Just throw it out there.
I know TJ Ford at the top of the list,
Right.
but then you
You asked
That's a
him
tough
that he
one.
coached.
That
Yeah.
he coached.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was
You
gonna
know,
take it a
a
step
lot of
further
people
than all
don't know
time.
this. Coach Kelly Oubre, who playing for the 76ers right
Yep,
Right.
that was
Oh,
a
yeah,
great
that's
Bush
right.
team with
Great
Cameron
Bush.
Yeah.
Ridley
now.
and
But
shout out to your son too. He got that state championship ring too. He
Okay.
could ball.
Yeah.
Daniel Ewing would have to come to mind. And the reason why I say those
Yeah.
two, because I was the first high school coach to have two McDonald's All-Americans on the same high school team.
Yep.
First one to ever do that. So those two have to be at the top of my list. And after that,
So that was Cameron and
no, TJ and Daniel were McDonald's All-American.
together.
The
Oh yeah, they
only-
were.
the
Wait,
same
I'm tripping. I'm
team.
tripping. I know that there was
Same
three
team.
Houston
Yeah.
guys in that one. Yeah.
So it's just I don't know. I guess I'd have to go with Carl Crawford because that's the guy that was that special athlete that was just good
Gotcha.
at everything.
Right.
TJ Ford,
Daniel
Daniel
Ewing,
Ewing, Carl Crawford. Coach, we thank you so much for being here, man. We got to wrap it up. Coming up, we're saying what's hot in the H, even though it's cool right now, but we're gonna warm it up.